Milk and Cookies by Tessa Kaye. Narrated by Dominic Devlin. I've always wanted to catch Santa Claus. More than the Easter Bunny, nobody cares about him. There's no consistent lore about him. And look at that! Him, I say, as if the gender of the rabbit has even been confirmed. Well, there's my point exactly. Do we even know what color it is? Is it the size of regular bunnies, or a human, or taller? No one knows. Every source says something different. No one spends time truly wondering what the Easter Bunny does when it isn't hopping around hiding eggs and giving out candy. No one cares. The Tooth Fairy is a little better. At least with the Tooth Fairy, you spend time wondering. Most kids at least wonder what the fairy does with the teeth that are collected. My theory is that they're used in the construction of a palace that's always being built. But ultimately, the Tooth Fairy is just as forgotten as the Easter Bunny. Nameless, faceless, devoid of any real qualities. There are other minor holiday mascots, Cupid, leprechauns, Baby New Year, etc., that I won't get into. The point is, none of them can hold a candle to Santa. Everyone knows his name and what he looks like. We know his entire life story, which is mostly consistent from source to source. We even know information about his wife, his pets, and his employees. Santa Claus is clearly the best of magical creatures. He has to be for everyone to have been so curious about him. And I'm going to catch him. I have a plan, you see. One that is practically flawless. I set a trap right next to the milk and cookies, which are on the table just far enough from the lights of the Christmas tree that the trap will go unnoticed if you don't know it's there. I'll finally see the famous Whitebeard for myself. I'll be able to ask him if he's the only Santa there ever was, or if it's like a job where a new Santa takes over when the old one is ready to retire. I'll ask how he manages to visit every house in the world, or whether he has help. I'll ask if I made the nice list. I'm sure I didn't. I'm sure, at the very least, that I'll never make it again after tonight. It's almost midnight now. I'm not quite sure when he will come. There's nothing in my sources that says he'll arrive at my house at any particular time. I hope it's soon, though. This is the latest I've ever stayed awake. A rustling noise comes from the fireplace. I jump and run to hide behind the sofa. But after a few seconds of nothing, I look and see my cat Fungus sitting on the mantel, licking her paw. She looks at me in a way that lets me know that she did it on purpose. She wanted to make me jump. Stupid cat. I go back out and begin pacing. When the clock chimes, I take another glance at the fireplace, wondering if I'll see a hint of red. Sadly, there's nothing. But then, I hear a thud. I look over at Fungus, who's moved onto the sofa, head on paws, softly sleeping. But the thud didn't even come from her direction. It came from above my head, on the roof. Quickly, I move back to my hiding place and peer over the top of the sofa, waiting. This is it! It's finally happening! Hours pass by, but the clock still shows that it's just after midnight. Then, a pair of sleek, black boots land gently on the bricks beneath the chimney. I duck down even further so that Santa won't see the head of hair or set of eyes peeking out at him. Near, silent footsteps tread towards me. And I hold my breath, hoping he won't lean over and see me, crouching in wait. He lets out a soft chuckle. Close. He's so close. And I hear Fungus purr. He must be petting her. Then he walks away. My heart rate drops, but only for a second, before I hear the sound of crinkling, signaling that Santa is putting presents beneath the tree. He's taking too long, I want to groan. I don't know how much longer I can take this. While he works, he hums a little tune under his breath, something like Jingle Bells or Santa Claus is coming to town. Eventually he finishes. His footsteps grow closer, again to the sofa, but they pass by quickly, heading towards the milk and cookies. Yes! It's finally happening! I'll really catch him! But his footsteps stop abruptly, and I don't hear the trap going off. He paces a few steps back to the center of the room. Come out. I know you're hiding. Crap. Well now, what are you doing out of bed? I don't respond. That's an awfully big bear trap. Does your dad know that you took it? Still, I stay quiet. You know, I don't normally take back presents, but I think you may be a little more deserving of some coal this year. What do you think? When I'm nothing but silent yet again, Santa stops speaking. I wait, trying to think of anything to do to somehow salvage my plan. When it feels like several minutes have passed, with no words passing between us, I allow my head to tilt up, just enough to peer over the back of the sofa. I see that Santa has turned his back to me and begun working through the cookies I put out for him. Well, who would have thought Santa was so careless? Seeing my opportunity, I allow myself to morph. I start with my legs, stretching them behind me, willing them to become longer. Long enough to walk themselves away from the rest of my still child-sized body and tap the brick of the fireplace. I push my head skyward, extending my torso so it grows long enough and wide enough to hold several children my previous size. I don't stop growing until the top of my head is near the ceiling. Santa remains oblivious, scarfing down cookies, still thinking I'm nothing more than a child crouching and hiding, waiting to see if he's real. When he finishes the milk, he turns. Upon seeing my form, my head high above his own, he turns towards the fireplace. But there are my feet and legs standing in front of the gaping mouth of the chimney, blocking his only way out. I had hoped that my bear trap would work, but this is fine too. Santa looks terrified now, eyes bulging. Please, he quivers. The children. Oh, right, my questions. How old are you, Santa? He stops maundering on, blinks. What? How old are you? Please, he just says again, voice trembling. Well, I tried. I throw my head back. My mouth splits, lines creeping up the sides to my ears. I unhinge my jaw. Santa screams, and then my mouth is around him. He goes down easily despite his size. Satisfied, I gather fungus in my arms and make my way through the house to the front door. In the hallway, I pass by an open door and throw a cursory glance at the body of the child whose face I stole. In the kitchen, I slide over the bodies of his parents. It really was a shame to have to waste them there like that, but I'd have to save room. As I duck my head to slide under the door, I take off the collar that reads Bella from around Fungus's throat and toss it back inside. I've always wanted to catch Santa. It's a funny thing, though. He didn't taste all that different from the Easter Bunny.